The public education system's main purpose is to ensure that all students have equal access to a great education to serve as a stepping stone for future success. However, problems arise when barriers block the path for success for certain groups of children. One such barrier to education equity for all students is the use of school zoning systems. School zoning is the process in which students are assigned to a school within a certain perimeter based on their home address. Through this process, children are assigned to zone schools or nearby schools if their zone school does not have enough space. The main goal of school zoning is to ensure that all students within a school district are assigned to the school closest to their home. This is to limit the amount of travel time and distance it takes for children to get to school. The problem occurs when we take a look at the location and quality of these assigned schools. Oftentimes, the high-quality schools are found in neighborhoods where the residents are wealthier, and the schools found in low economic zones are considered bad schools. Families with high economic status live in or seek out and purchase homes in better neighborhoods with higher achieving schools, leaving all other families to scramble to attend lower quality schools within the neighborhood. The boundaries for each zone are sometimes hard to determine and can vary from block to block. This is especially upsetting when a child on one side of a city block is zoned to one school and a child who lives directly across the street is zoned to another school much farther away. Those who support school zoning policies argue that if parents are not happy with their child's zone school, they have choices to attend better schools through private and charter schools or lotteries and gifted and talented programs. However, this does not help families who cannot afford to pay to send their children to school or who live too far away and don't have access to these better schools. Because minority children and children from families with lower socioeconomic status are hugely impacted by school zoning, it has been referred to as educational segregation. Research shows that the average low-income student lives near a school that scores at the 42nd percentile on state exams, while the average middle to high-income student lives near a school that scores almost 20 percentage points higher. The children living in these low economic areas are often minorities and therefore have a smaller chance of attending these better achieving schools, especially when the boundaries are intentionally drawn to exclude them. As a preschool teacher, the elementary school application period is always a stressful time. Parents always want to know where the best schools are and are often upset when their child is accepted to their zone school and not one of the main choices on their list. This might be because the school they preferred was rated better or is closer in distance to their home. Before exploring this topic, I never understood the stress because my belief was that all schools are supposed to do the best to educate all students that come into their buildings. Learning about the inequities that exist because of school zoning made me want to further explore solutions to ensure that when my students leave my classroom, the environment I am sending them off to will do all they can to support them on their educational journey. One way to ensure equity for all students is for school districts to participate in a form of gerrymandering by changing the way school zone boundaries are drawn to integrate our schools. Just as the boundaries have been drawn to exclude certain groups and keep others in, they can be redrawn to allow all students equal access to better achieving schools. Mixing the population of schools within a district will ensure that all schools contain diverse populations and that every school is working to meet the needs of all of its students. As a teacher, the issues that arise as a result of school zoning emphasizes how important it is for every teacher to take a personal interest in the academic achievement of all of their students. While we may not be able to make school or district-wide changes on our own or even collectively right away, we are accountable for what happens to our students in our own classrooms. Every student is capable of successful learning and should be given the tools and knowledge needed for them to succeed, and that starts with us. Personally, I plan to continue seeking out ways to develop myself professionally and collaborating with other teachers to learn the best practices needed to serve all of my students. In the classroom, I plan to continue creating safe and responsive spaces for my students to explore and learn together in order to set a strong foundation for their future learning. With the learning that takes place in my classroom, I seek to make sure that all of my students know that they are great learners so that they continue to strive for success no matter where they are.